Hello random viewers and subscribers in between, my name is John Green, and today we will be reviewing Articulated Icon's Dusk Ninja. Starting with this original box, it sports a window display, and I just want to point out, I appreciate the artsy take on the interior. It just says, "Coming out of the shadows." A neat small detail. This is Articulated Icon's first wave of figures under the lineup The Feudal series, an obvious homage to feudal Japan. This version I bought is known strictly as Clan of Dusk Ninja, as labeled on the front. On the back of the white packaging is a small bio, a pic of the Dusk Ninja himself, and a showcase of the rest of the shinobi you can get your hands on. And with this one in hand, we can take a closer inspection of what this ninja comes with. This is the same for all other ninja in the Feudal series. 2 alternate heads, 1 designed for the hood, 2 harness types, a single strap, and what I can only describe as extra tactical harness. This shinobi of the midday also has 2 differently length swords. And something very nice about these is the storage and sturdiness of these well-painted butter knives. The functionality of the sheaths holstered on the back are very good. Can't say the same about the build, however, but as long as the sheaths are not under too much stress, they should last a long time. But they can occasionally work too well also. You want to be careful whipping out the steel, because you can bend or god forbid break the katanas. Lastly, this navy blue ninja comes with 3 sets of hands, and a kunai. The hand sets are open palm, fists, and gripping hands. And one last good attention to detail, the gripping hands also allow the ninja to pack some firepower. One last tidbit I forgot to mention were the hood accessories. Moving on to the figure himself. Right off the bat, I am really digging the molded plastic color itself being worked in as the majority of this ninja's clothes. There is expert use of black wash to really highlight the sculpted wrinkles of the clothing. Even the pegs are the same color, making them seamless from a distance. Although, arguably pinless would have been better. The heads are also well made, the stern expression painted very well for an indie figure. I neglected to mention, the arms can pop off, allowing you to easily slip on the harness of your preference. The only notable difference with the figure is the soft plastic belt at the waist. Sadly, this is where all the positive praise ends, because the moment I physically handled this figure the first time around, everything was ruined. This figure feels cheap as all hell, and for something that basically cost $45 at Big Bad Toy Store, I kind of feel offended I paid that much for something that feels like McFarlane's attempt at a 6-inch scale figure. The plastic feels incredibly cheap, and just as a heads up for potential buyers, first time handling this guy will feel like you nearly broke his limbs. The joints are usually freshly molded in place as far as I know, so the nub marks tend to fuse, making it a hassle to pose the limbs. Making it so, when you go for that first pose, you snap the inner working of the joints. Freeing the limb to articulate for sure, but you're also running the gambit of basically breaking the ninja's legs or arms. And while on the topic of the ninja's limbs, the crotch might come apart if you attempt to spread the ninja's legs. That sounds weird out loud, but let me elaborate. A little tradition I'm sure toy collectors can share is the split test, where we see if a figure can basically do a Jean-Claude Van Damme. And yeah, this figure can, but the moment I did the first time around, he split his balls in half. It's a simple fix though, some light applications of super glue will remedy that. But sadly, there's no good remedy for broken wrists on an action figure with hinge rotational wrists. Anyone who has handled a McFarlane's figure knows this type of wrist articulation, and personally for me, I hate them. Yeah, it offers more posability, but at the cost of you having to adjust the hinge just to pose the hand in 2 other directions. It's not even the hassle of adjusting the wrist that made me sour about the figure, it's how freaking loose the damn sockets and hinges themselves are. For my copy at least, right out of the box, his busted wrists can't pose worth their life. Holding this glorified paperclip causes his wrist to go loose, and moving the hand even slightly causes said hands to fall off the criminally soft ball joint, or in this case ball peg, excuse me. These hands look well sculpted and finely painted, but all of that means nothing if the function sucks. This is not where the bad news ends either, sadly. This figure's articulation is bare minimum at best, both in quality and functionality. The head is a basic disc hinge and a ball peg, and as a painful reminder of just how bootleggish this figure feels, somehow, God only knows why, the sculpt of the neck is at a freaking angle. How? Why? I don't know. But it sure does ruin the posing at the neck, cause now he permanently tilts his head like a dumb puppy whenever he looks up. The double jointed arms are fine, but I feel like I have to be ginger about posing them. I should not have to worry in the back of my mind if a limb is going to break on me with a figure. At least his shoulders are sturdy and can go all around. I know this is an indie figure and maybe there is some reason why the quality of the molded plastic feels so cheap as a 99-cent store toy, but at least even those pieces of crap had sturdy joints. And while on the topic of crap, as mentioned before, these piss poor excuses for wrist articulation that are at a peg hinge rotation can pose the hands fine, but only the hands. You make this guy hold anything lighter than a toothpick, and his wrists will buck and loosen under the lighter than air pressure. The torso is one of the two things good about this figure's articulation. He crunches forward very well, and as mentioned before, the molded plastic itself serves as the majority of this figure's color palette. Therefore, there is minimum risk of paint chipping. The torso can also bend back pretty good, and no side to side, but the waist swivel more than makes up for that. Good range at the hips, and as mentioned before, he can do the splits. Kick forward really high, and the leg moves back that far. Double jointed knees, swivel at the calf, and the best articulated ankles I have seen on a figure, allowing the foot to pose to a literal point. That really helps for dynamic poses, implying you can manage them, of course. And I forgot to mention the thigh cut at the thigh. This is the final thing that kind of ruined the likelihood of me enjoying this figure, for me at least. Technically a 1/12 scale action figure, this guy is so short! Here he is next to 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael, my custom action figure Swordplay, and Rampage. I get he's a ninja and the style or look of the figure is to be realistic, but I'd rather have an action hero cartoon look. I really wanted to like this guy. It astounds me how this is the third figure I have bought from BBTS that I ended up hating, and for two main reasons: the unreasonable price and the horrid condition of the figure in hand. This figure, to me at least, is not worth 45 bucks. I'll be fine paying 15 to 19. The articulation is passable, the sculpt is really good, but the loose as hell wrist, the messed up ball peg at the neck, and the loose crotch, and lastly the scale of the figure itself just soured my interest in it. Now for anyone watching who has been a long-time subscriber of mine, you all know I am a kitbasher. I could take figures and turn them into something else or improve upon them. So why not do that with this guy? And I did. If you want to see the kitbash process, the tab in the top right hand corner, as well as a link in the description, will take you to a video of me fixing up this poorly built ninja. Now, Fwoosh, for those who don't know, is a big name in the toy collector community on YouTube, bringing us news and updates of upcoming figures. He even shares some custom made figures he makes or debuts from fellow kitbashers on social media. So I personally kind of feel bad for not liking his first ever manufactured figure that has been around for like, well, 2 years now. And please do not take these critiques as an attack towards him. I judge the product itself, not the people behind it. I'm sure this is just an isolated incident and I basically just got a bad copy. Thankfully I could customize this guy, so it all worked out in the end. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to check out the other figure reviews I've done. If you'd like to see more from me, be it action figures or stop motion related, please do subscribe and smack the shit out of the bell to be notified whenever I upload something. Want to see behind the scenes of what I'm cooking up next? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you all for watching till the end, and stay tuned for the next figure review, because I got a lot of good things to say about this guy.